talking about sending George W. Bush back to Crawford, Texas. Well, today I went to Crawford, Texas, for the first time in my life. It is actually an incredibly pleasant place. We had about 100 people show up, which is pretty good, although a lot of them were media from Waco and places like that. But there's only 700 people in Crawford, Texas, and guess what? The people in Crawford, Texas want a change also. And we're going to do it. So we started the message, register for change in Crawford, Texas. And Crawford, Texas is going to have some changes coming itself. It is now going to become a retirement community. George W. Bush, a retirement community for Dick Cheney, because he doesn't want to go back to Wyoming. John McCain can't go back to Arizona, so they require retirement community in Crawford, Texas. And how about all those other places like all those other folks like Alberto Gonzalez and all those famous people, they're all going to go back to Crawford, Texas. 1,200 acres is a lot of acres. Nobody's going to notice. It's a nice town. It's going to stay a nice town. Let me just make it clear what this is about. We went to Crawford, Texas, because there are a lot of Crawford, Texases all over America, where people are paying over $4 a gallon for gas and they can't afford to commute to work anymore, where people have sent their sons and daughters to die in Iraq for a war that George Bush sent us to without telling us the truth. And John McCain also bears responsibility for that war because he voted for that war too. We went to Crawford, Texas to show that we do not want a third term for George W. Bush because that's what John McCain represents. The difference between Barack Obama on the one hand and John McCain on Iraq policy alone is 98 years in Iraq, and we don't want to be in Iraq for 98 years. John McCain's policy for the economy is exactly the same as George Bush's. John McCain's policy on health care is veto everything you can, exactly the same as George Bush's. We want real change in America, and Crawford, Texas wants real change in America, because American small towns are under siege because of Republican economic policies. And we can do better, and we will do better when Barack Obama is president of the United States. Let me just do a couple of things before I get going on this stuff. First of all, there are a lot of great people running for office here, and I was going to name them, and then I suddenly realized I had to name about 35 people. Thank you for the candidates that you're supporting. There is one I am going to mention because he's the hometowner. I think Rick Noriega has a great shot of winning. So, please help him and all these other fantastic candidates. You know, you all picked a lot of winning candidates in 2006. In fact, if it wasn't for the Netroots Nation, we would not have a majority in the United States House of Representatives. And I thank you for it. I thank you also for the work you did on my behalf when I was running for chairman of the Democratic National Committee. And we have changed the Democratic National Committee a lot. We have staff in every single state. We have helped elect some folks that most people didn't think had a chance at all to Congress of the United States. We have helped make sure that Ohio and California and Minnesota had Democratic secretaries of state. Because the best way to fix the problem with black box voting machines is to be sure you have honest secretaries of state who understand that their obligation is to the people of the United States in maintaining our democracy and not to the Republican Party. And now, I'm going to ask you to help us change America permanently. We have a candidate for President of the United States who is a new generation candidate. He understands that America is beyond being a melting pot. The younger generation is a multicultural generation that looks like the rest of the world. That America needs to be healed again. American family needs to include everybody, and we intend to do just that. And when Barack Obama is President of the United States, he will have become President of all 50 states, not just those people who agreed with him. And he will be President of all Americans, not just those who agree with him. And we really will be empowered, because what the Obama campaign is about is not just Barack Obama. It's about a new America. This race is very much like the race in the 1960s. In 1960, John F. Kennedy ran as a candidate of the new generation. Richard Nixon ran as a candidate of the old generation. And John Kennedy won that race. It was a very close race. I believe that this is going to be a very close race. But I believe that hope in the future will always triumph over the candidate who is looking backwards. Barack Obama is the candidate of the future of America. He is somebody who understands that everybody has to be included, and he is also someone who understands that his job is to heal America, to end 30 years of ugly, divisive policies filled with hate, and begin to embrace all Americans as part of one family in order to build the kind of country we believe in. Now, on this bus tour that we started today in Crawford, Texas, we are here in Austin, of course, which is kind of an easy sell. But tomorrow we're going to Louisiana and Mississippi. And, you know, some of the folks in the media on the right end of the spectrum are kind of making fun of us. Well, you know, it seems to me the last two congressional elections we won, which were 1 month and 2 months ago, respectively, we just won congressional seats in Louisiana and in Mississippi. 2007, we just won back in the state Senate in the state of Mississippi. We can win everywhere, and that's why we're doing this. And in Texas, not only do we want Barack Obama to win in Texas, which is a possibility, we want Rick Noriega to win in Texas, but there are 5 seats in the Texas House of Representatives. If we pick those up, we will undo the horrible, crooked scheme that cheat Texans out of their rightful representation in the United States Congress, and undo what Tom DeLay did. All that time ago, government of Texas, in Mississippi, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, we can choose all of those. 5 seats in the Texas House of Representatives, all the stand between keeping health care in Texas again, and the fundamental understanding that we can bring honesty back to government again after the incredible damage of the last 8 years. We can do better, and we will do better. I want to thank Senator Obama because he also has embraced the 50-state strategy. That doesn't mean, as I've often said, we're going to put all this money into every single state and treat everybody equal. We know some states are going to require more resources than others, but every state is going to have resources, and no state will be lacking. I was very flattered by the things that Glenn said about our campaign, but the truth is that Barack Obama has done everything that we pioneered and multiplied it by 10. Millions of donors, the average gift is $68. You want campaign finance reform? I'll tell you campaign finance reform. When your average gift to your presidential campaign is $68, you are owned by nobody but the American people. And I want to thank both Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton for an extraordinary campaign.